Welcome everybody to the COACHMC studio. It's such a pleasure to have you guys on board. Just to give you some context really quick, I'm an actor for over 35 years now. I started entering entertainment industry 25 years ago. I've accumulated almost 2,200 acting credits. 10 years ago, we founded the COACHMC studio with the clear mission to, help all actors that are just starting off, or, even the seasoned actors to kind of get a new perspective on the biz, getting new instruments, because throughout my very long and beautiful career, I kind of realized that there are certain things that, a lot of actors are getting wrong, especially when they're starting off. And there's always also, that seems always to be a problem also when you are in the biz for a couple of years, that, that just you kind of lose grip and lose touch of your mission and all that. And so without knowing all that, though, bear in mind, that we just started this incredible adventure because we thought it would be a fantastic way also to have a side grind when I'm kind of exiting any shows or anything, to stay still right in the biz and still helping people. It's good karma, it's beautiful energy, you're still keeping yourself warm. And so I thought, yeah, that would be probably one of the best things that I could do. Like in the beginning, it was just focused on actors, just helping them out with their self-tapes. We started our company in Italy, which back in the days and still is a hot market for international productions. But the problem for most Italian actors is the English language. And so we were helping them out in Italy back then, kind of, with the English pronunciation and really understanding the product, because a lot of Italian actors are also auditioning for the international productions, since Italy as a country is hot market for those, if you think of James Bond, guy from Uncle, Angels and Demons, all these productions, right? They're all shoot in Italy because it's just a beautiful land. And so this is how we started, helping out with self-tapes, auditions, pronunciation, all sorts of, little things to kind of, making sure that these Italian actors were feeling secure, safe, and really kind of ready to launch their product. After a while, we started realizing that these communicational tools that we were providing for the actors, that these tools are actually also, working in other business fields and other segments of the industry, not necessarily only entertainment industry. For somebody who needs to communicate in an impactful way, right, to his teams, or somebody who needs to sell or makes a public speaking appearance or likes to pitch a product to a venture capitalist, all these things, right? Everybody needs a little bit of acting and great communication in his life. And so we started also sharing our experience, our tools with other people, not just only actors. And we started cross-polluting all sorts of segments. It was just an incredible adventure in the beginning because we weren't really actively realizing what we were doing as a company, as the coach, right? But then over time, of course, we fleshed out more and more what our core purpose, what our core product actually is. And that kind of led us to the point of understanding, all right, we need to scale, we need to, have a strategy, we need, different goals, because we really wanted to keep this mission alive of being the coach, and not only me being an actor, but also me kind of, fortifying this company and making it slightly bigger and scaling it. And so what I'm sharing today with you guys is exactly what I did, or what we did, my wife and I, to kind of scale this company, to get into different, branches of business, and also to propel our image as actors, as showrunners, as entertainment creatives, as as writers. Everybody who's kind of involved in entertainment industry probably can get something valuable out of this. What I'm saying today is basically what I did for a couple of years. So today, let's jump into an acting career strategy session. And when I'm talking about strategy, It's not just butchie, oh yeah, you can do this and do that. No. I want you to, take out your journal, take out piece of paper, pencil, and really kind of, go with me and ask me questions by the end of this masterclass, because we're going to share a lot of information, and definitely there's going to be some questions in the end, about certain details, about certain applications and everything else. I know when it's about like setting goals and missions, it sounds like so cliche, right? There's another coach that wants you to write down stuff so you can visualize it, and bada boom, bada bam. All right. So yes, I want you to write a couple of things today. So yes, I want you to visualize. So I want you, yes, to be also a goal setter. I will show you something before we with the nitty-gritty of the content today. This is my so-called black book, right? You know, I have this background as a graffiti writer. I started like with street art. I was a street painter, all these things many, many, many years ago. And so to me, a black book is like a Bible. It's a holy thing. And what a black book basically is, it kind of accumulates sketches, drawings, all sorts of stuff. It's like a journal, but it has tougher paper, and so you can do all sorts of things with it. You can create art with it, you can write down stuff, you can, you know, put pictures in it. I love black books because, you know, for a street artist, for a graffiti artist, the black book is also a reference. It's like a portfolio. This is what you would show back in the days to another fellow graffiti artist, right? And so he would then understand, wow, your skill level, right? You kind of, it's like a portfolio today for an actor or for any creative mind out there, right? He has to show his work, right? He has to kind of, you know, let people know what he's capable of. And so I love black books. I got a bunch of them. And this is a black book that I started back then in Italy when I lived there. And this is from 2016, right? So this is an entrance. This is something that I visualized in 2016. You can clearly see this is the coach. And we started the company in 2014. It was just like a work in progress type of development that kind of led me to, you know, understand, okay, I have to do this a bit more strategically, and I had to kind of write down stuff to understand, like, where is this whole thing going, since we realized, my wife and I, like, we wanted to continue doing this, even though I would get back into the entertainment track, of course, but I wanted to know where we can take this. So this was 2016, the Coach Master Plan, right? It's fairly like it's just like a rough sketch. But even back then, 2016, I wrote this in Italian. I thought about, this was March 2016, right? We thought about like our first master class and what we had to do, right? And by November of 2016, the Coach movie starts. We wanted to, you know, start a blog, go online, create a YouTube channel, go on Facebook, you know, kind of getting a photo camera. So we have all sorts of messy goals in here without any like real kind of strategy or anything that is a bit more granular. It's a bit wild, right? We're gonna do it a bit cleaner today. So change like 2017. The goal for 2017, mind you, this was March 2016. So by 2017, we wanted to, you know, kind of move into a bigger apartment to have more room for the studio. We had to save money, and we were kind of planning our years ahead, where we wanted to travel, what we, you know, kind of envisioned for the company. Back then we had, and I know this sounds so cliche and everything, but it's true. This is exactly what happened. Back then, we literally had no money. We had no funds. We were living in a beautiful apartment that was rather small in Rome. And we just started kind of, you know, understanding that people were attracted to our product, you know, to my coaching method, but we still had no real kind of strategy for this company. And so we kind of set up this, right? Lord and behold, 7 years later, we got a green card. We moved to the United States. We open up a studio in Miami. We have many collaborations with fellow acting coaches and teachers in New Orleans, in New York, a lot of people in Los Angeles, over here in Miami. We have a Talks on Acting show on YouTube. I'm part of a weekly entertainment roundtable on YouTube. I'm creating masterclasses once a month. We have networking events going on that we're sponsoring, promoting, producing, and strategizing. We shot hundreds of videos for the YouTube channel, hundreds of videos for Instagram. We grew our Facebook page on 18K followers, starting from a couple of, you know, hundreds. We grew our Instagram up to 43K followers, starting from scratch from zero, basically. The YouTube channel is slowly but steadily growing as well. It wasn't about vanity metrics or kind of, monetizing all these social media adventures. It was about creating a structure for a company that then would serve us, right? So we could, kind of rely on on something like a fundament, on something like a functioning company, right? And so this very rough sketch that we did 7 years ago was sort of like a roadmap for a couple of months only. Like, it was like a medium term type of roadmap. It started March 2016. We already were envisioning 2017. So let's say we had like 9 months in advance of planning that we put down on this double page, and everything exceeded even our expectations to what happened afterwards. With this little history cookie, I just want you to kind of make you understand how important it is to visualize, how important it is to strategize, how important it is to put stuff on paper, to write stuff down, and to see where you at. And I call this the beautiful world of our artistic inventory. And look at yourself right now and just tell me, who are you, right? What is your inventory? Where are you right now? Not the past, not the future, right now. Who are you? What is it that you are? What is your inventory, right? It's your accumulation of skills, your accumulation of knowledge, accumulation of experience. What is right now the soup that you are in? And how do you want to stand out? Where do you want to kind of, go from here? And it is an incredible, powerful thing to do. And of course, I'm going to talk about, various things that we can implement as actors, as entertainment industry, members, right? Because it is a huge community that is worldwide. But besides that, it's also about having a structure and how to kind of map out all these things. So we're going to try to tackle both, like having some tangible instruments that we can use right away and that we can implement right away from the creative part, from the creative aspect, but also some tangible instruments and tools on how to structure all this chaotic stuff and creative chaotic madness that we have inside of our heart and inside of our mind, right? If that makes sense, please let me know. In today's world, we are all communicators. We all have cell phones. I talked about this in our last masterclass. We all have the incredible privilege and the opportunity to use these 3 lenses here, or 2 lenses that are attached onto our smartphone, to kind of, promote and transmit our message and, reach out to the people. And by the end of, you can also ask me if there are any book tips that, anything that I can recommend literature wise, because there are some great books that will also help you understand the business that we're in, because we are all communicators. And so there is something called originality that makes our communication stand out compared to anyone else's communication, because every brain works slightly differently, right? Every one of us, right, has a slightly different mission. Everyone has a different background and a different context in which he's presenting his content, his creativity. And so therefore, everybody has his form of communication. But there are certain things that we can all use, right, in order to kind of make sure that people finally start noticing us. And whether you're starting, at the bottom of the ladder, or you're already like an established name and you want to kind of, try to kind of reach that peak, it really doesn't matter. The process is always the same. It kind of changes a little bit through the context, of course, but nonetheless, it's always going to be about us being original, us being recognizable, us being valuable, us being extremely extraordinary. Yes, because in a way, this is our only strategy. Hi, Alexander. Nice to have you. So first of all, I want you to kind of make that inventory for yourself, because self-acknowledgement, self-respect, and also the opinion that we have about ourselves, like intimately, right? When we look in the mirror, it's like, what do I think of myself? What is it that I like about myself? What is it that I detest about myself? What is it that I still need to figure out? All these things, right? So make a nice inventory about yourself and tell yourself who you are, because it starts from there. And start respecting yourself, even though you're not enjoying the greatest success on earth right now. There's a solution to that, and there's a reason for that, why you're not enjoying this type of success. And probably one of the reasons is that you haven't like properly strategically placed down some sort of a roadmap where you want to be in a couple of years, right? One of the reasons most creatives kind of, just swim in that unrecognizable soup, right, for many, many years, is because they haven't had the guts to kind of stand up and say, you know what, I'm not going to do this, right, like for the rest of my life. I want to be someone who's like recognizable, who's original, who has something to show. And therefore you have to kind of, step out of your comfort zone, step out of, the mass, the tribe, the red ocean where everybody's competing against each other. It's like really like have a strategic approach to your creativity. And so I call this system antennas out, antennas in, antennas out, antennas in. And what I mean by that, there is a time for every creative mind out there where he needs to put his antennas out to kind of receive the message from the universe, right? To get inspiration, ideas, to do research, all that. And then the antennas have to go back in, and then it's all focused on one goal and one goal only. Because the greatest plan on planet Earth is only as good as long as you are aligned with this plan, as long as you are aligned with your mission. If you start thinking about a plan A and then start thinking about a plan B in case plan A doesn't work, and then a plan C in case plan B doesn't work, which is just, a repair plan for plan A, then you start kind of, diluting your energy. You start liquefying your product and your focus. And therefore, you won't reach your final destination. You won't reach that first very important station. Focus solely and everything and only on plan A, even if that means that you will fail, because by failing, you will realize what you're still missing, what needs still to be improved, what can or should be changed in order to achieve that. You will never experience that fully if you have several plans, several, destinations, several strategies. You have one and you follow that. Again, dates may change, time may change, even the circumstances may change, location may change, but the plan doesn't change, the goal doesn't change, the mission doesn't change, right? Just takes longer, just goes a different route, just goes down a different path. But itself, the plan, the mission is it's like a baby. We need to keep it. It's like a little kitty, right? We need to grow it. It's our acting flower. Our acting flower needs to be watered, needs to be kind of, it needs nutrition, it needs sunlight, it needs trust, it needs good music, it needs all these things, right, in order to grow and be strong. So therefore, sit down with yourself and start this conversation. Clean your mental folders. Make a great inventory of where you are right now. And if there is anything you have to start with, it's positivity. Before anything else, before you start writing down buchi, oh, I want this, I want that, and we'll talk about that like technically, you have to be positive. You have to be an optimist. You have to look into the future and say, hey, what an incredible privilege do I, kind of enjoy right now. I can create my own future. I'm not necessarily a product of the past. I'm an accumulation of all my experiences, but I can change. I can pivot. I can start doing something else with my time. I can start looking into the future and say, this is where I align, and kind of focus on that and that only. So if you really want to do that, you have to be an optimist. You have to realize that everything that will be thrown at you will just make you stronger. The universe throws obstacles at you, problems, boulders, all these things that you have to overcome, that you have to kind of neutralize, that you have to understand, not because the universe is evil and doesn't want you to succeed. Quite the opposite. It's like the priest that prays to God for strength, and God throws, cataclysms at the priest, like terrifying experiences at the priest, right? All sorts of, upheavals. And the priest asks back, like, God, why are you sending me all these, very terrifying experiences? Why are you sending me all these problems along my way? I asked for strength. And God is answering, yes, that's why. You want to be stronger? Conquer, defeat, strategize, be flexible, overcome the problems. That's how you get stronger. So always be careful what you wish for. But I guess that's a good analogy, right? The priest that asks for strength and stamina and endurance and receives just problems is just a way of getting him stronger. So God did exactly what the priest asked for. It's just us, right? That we have a very strange idea of how we get stronger. We think like, oh, it has to be positive, right? I want to be stronger. I have a great mission. Yes, absolutely. Alexander, yeah, we will get to that, to the Q&A section, but yeah, absolutely. It's about who you are. Like, what is your inventory, right? Where are you right now, right? This is absolutely vital to understanding all these problems that will show up or maybe not show up. Who knows? It's not necessarily like always like a big problem that will come your way. Sometimes it's just minor things that you have to solve, but it's always a privilege, because it will make us stronger, because it will fortify that intention. Because who bails in that moment is the weak, right? He goes back into the comfort zone. He goes back into the limitation zone. The weak who bails out of the mission, who bails acting, who bails entertainment industry, who bails being creative, who bails writing, painting, sculpting, architecture, because it's too complicated. That's the person who likes to, live in that comfortable bubble and that limitation bubble, right? Where you switch on the TV, you consume some drugs, alcohol, sweets, whatever your poison is, and you stay there on the couch and you watch others having success instead of working for your own success. I guess you could also say, choose your heart. What is your heart? Because staying at home on the couch and being broke or not fulfilling yourself to the fullest, that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have any income, but you're not doing what makes you happy. What fulfills you is hard. And trying to get famous with your creativity, with your art, with acting is hard as well. Just pick your heart. What is your favorite heart? Is it the limitation zone where you feel like I'm not expressing myself, and that will make you feel miserable? And definitely that is harder than trying to achieve something, because by trying to achieve something, you learn, you grow, you grow a second skin, a thicker layer, right? Your nerves will strengthen, they will get harder, and this is how you develop that stubbornness that you need as an artist. Einstein once said, in the end, you can't distinguish a genius from a stubborn man. You can't distinguish them, right? From the outside, they both look the same. Think about Thomas Alva Edison. He registered 3,600 patents for the light bulb that weren't working. And the 3,601 was finally working. So years and years and years of financing, developing, trying to find financial backers for his plans, running to the patent registry and always trying a new kind of mixture of gas inside of the light bulb, the glass, how to build it, what kind of metal to use to kind of light up the bulb from the inside, all these things, what current to use, how strong it should be, all these things, they all failed. 3,600 patents that all failed, and he still kept his mind at it, right? The dates were changing, not his goal, and then he succeeded, right? Stubbornness sometimes is the same as being a genius, and the other way around. It's really undistinguishable at a certain point. So you need to be stubborn in order to kind of get your mind, at it and really kind of succeeding. Positivity, stubbornness, these are the attributes that we need. This is our humor, our everyday humor. I'm positive, I'm stubborn. I'm positive, I'm stubborn. Stubborn in terms of yeah, I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna try to understand, I'm gonna deconstruct it, whatever it is. Is it a workshop? Is it the coach talking to me? Is it a book? Is it an acting class? Is it a casting director that explains to me why I'm acting bad and what I should, change? Is it my agent that kind of points out all the flaws of my portfolio, of my resume, of my material, whatever it is, right? I'm stubborn, I'm gonna do it, right? I'm not gonna give up. I'm accepting the critique if it's constructive, of course. If it's destructive, I'm going to defend myself and my dignity, of course. But in the end, I'm going to be stubborn. I'm going to stick with that, right? Again, I don't have a plan B or a plan C. I just have this plan A. And I'm going to, look out for kind of making this happen no matter what. Like, think again what I've wrote down in my black book 2016. Do you think from 2016 to now, where I've firstly kind of drafted this to now, that there weren't any problems along the way? Of course not. But mostly to my wife, I have to say thank you that she kept my humor alive, my positivity alive. She always sees the bright side of things. Where I'm a Scorpio, I'm a creative, I like to work at night. Sometimes I get dark and moody and jumpy, right? And I get all strange because I'm working so hardcore. I don't realize, right? I'm a perfectionist, and sometimes I get lost in the process. And you have to kind of, rope yourself out of that pitfall, right? Of that pit hole, and say, you know what? Wait a second. I got my humor. I got my positivity. That determines my attitude towards my work. So humor, stubbornness determines my attitude towards the things that I need to do in order to achieve my goals. And that will determine my performance. Because if I'm going into the room, right, and I'm negative, I'm moody, right, I'm self-entitled, I feel like somebody is disrespecting me, or whatever it is, right, this is what I emanate. And if I emanate negativity, nobody wants to work with me. As easy as that, right? Once you are Dustin Hoffman, you can be grumpy on set and be strange and be weird and moody, all that. You can allow yourself to do that if you want, right? I still feel like the best way to approach a set is to always be open to all suggestions and have a great working attitude, because that will just influence positively your performance. But hey, it's up to you how you want to behave at a certain point when you kind of reached your peak performance. But till you get there, you need to be open, you need to be funny, you need to be optimistic. That doesn't mean that you put on a show and you smile all the time and you're like, hey, you do the Jim Carrey every time you get called to action. No, but you enter the room with a positive attitude, with a great humor, because this is a person that I like to work with, right? As a casting director, somebody comes in and, hey, this is a great person. Like, this person is open to suggestions. This person is kind of tackling the problems in a proactive way. This person is asking questions. This person is not so focused on itself. It's open to all the currents, all the inputs, all the little things that are happening. And this is what I mean by antennas out, antennas in, right? There's a time to put your antennas out, and then antennas in, and then boom, follow the road. And as a result of having the great attitude, because you are in a good humorous place and you are stubborn, your performance will look good. And that performance over time, repeatedly will give you, will bring you the accolades, will bring you the rewards, right? And these rewards, they can be turned into more and better, like into a growing reputation. And once your reputation grows, chances are people will start remembering you. Chances are you will start becoming that recognizable actor. Chances are, oh, hi, Victoria. Nice. Thank you so much for showing up. And finally showing the face. Everybody's invited to show his face. This is show business, right? And so that will, get you into the loop where people start finally realizing who you are, right? So it's all a matter of humor. It's all a matter. Hi, Kati, thanks so much for showing up. It's all a matter of attitude that, influences positively your performance, that will get you to the accolades, that will get you recognized. And now, finally, you will start booking roles, because this is the person I like to work with as a casting director, someone who acknowledges reality, right? And at the same time is creative. And at the same time has also his antennas out whenever he needs to, but then kind of gets back to performing and not feeling entitled, not feeling offended, not feeling disrespect, anything. People don't want to disrespect you. People don't want to offend you. They are not there to do all that, right? Don't feel so entitled that they're just doing that to offend you, to do you some harm. They are just having their lives. They are just having their problems. They are just, you know, experiencing their part of, you know, of the process. And sometimes that process for them is very hard and demanding as well. So, right? Don't waste time on what other people might think of you, because it will change anyways, and it doesn't matter, because your job is to be original. Your job is to be recognizable. Your job is to be funny and entertaining. So should we call this a grow mindset? We can call it if you like it, or a success mindset, that like whatever pleases you. But this is the basic, right? Inventory, who are you right now? And then understanding that in order to kind of, you know, put this where I am right now into a working engine, I need to have some like good amount of positive stubbornness and a great humor. We need to be positive and optimistic about everything that we do, because we send this optimism out, and that will of course also trigger endorphins and great neurochemicals that will of course speed up operations in our body. So it's a positive vicious cycle that we start with ourselves, with our hormones, with our feelings, where our emotions start serving us instead of us being the slaves of our emotions. Does that make sense? Please let me know. Okay. That belief system, that grow mindset, that belief system that we're building up over, you know, over time with experience, and that stubbornness to always stay positive, right? That belief system will enable us to look at ourselves in a way more open and sincere way, and really determining what does actually matter. What is it that we love to achieve? So the second strategy that we need to apply in order to achieve our goals is really understanding, what is it that I want? Why am I here? Like, why? You can write this down. Why do I do what I do? Why is it? What is the reason for it? What is my real desire in this game? And it can be everything. It can be absolutely everything. I'm not judging anyone, right? But you have to be sincere, and you have to be specific, right? You can't say, oh, I'm in this because one day I want to make $3 million a year. It's like, yeah, but break this down a little bit, right? And we will get there, of course, to make this a bit more technical also, not only, you know, philosophical mumbo jumbo, right? I want you to give, you know, I want you to kind of understand that I'm here to give you tangible tools. But since we're talking about art, of course we need tangible tools and structure, but we need also creativity and spirituality a little bit, if you want to call it so. Something ethereal, something otherworldly, something that goes beyond the usual stuff, because otherwise we won't get recognizable. So both go hand in hand, right? So antennas out. My inventory. Where am I right now? Forget the fucking past. The past is the past. What we can use from the past, we will use. Everything else we will discard. Now, once we have that inventory and we have our mission, now we understand, what weapons do I need, right? Let's say I want to become a comedic actor. Do I have all the tools necessary? Do I have all the weapons necessary? I want to be a stand-up comedian. Do I have everything that I need? I want to be a script supervisor. I want to be a writer. I want to be a great entertainer. I want to be a dancer. Do I have all the weapons? And now you will realize one thing. Maybe I need to be more specific about what I want to become, right? Because in today's world, it's not about the type, right? I mean, we can go to the supermarket and we will find hundreds of types of different milk, or hundreds of different ketchup types, or hundreds of, but what is your style? What is your brand? What type of comedic actor do you want to become? Like a dramatic comedic actor, like a slapstick comedic actor, like a stand-up comedic actor, Or like a very versatile one, like Robin Williams? Is it more Jim Carrey? Is it more Jackie Chan? Where do you want to put your comedy in, right? So ask yourself, what type of brand are you? Not what type of actor you are, what type of brand? What do you represent? And a great way of visualizing that, of understanding that, is asking yourself, what type of car are you? Or what type of painting are you? Are you more like a Ford Mustang? Are you more an expressionist painter? Are you more an impressionist? Are you more an abstract painter? Are you more a Mercedes-Benz limousine or a sedan? Or are you more like an off-road Jeep? Right? What type of car are you? Because that determines your brand, and that determines the roles that you're looking for. Because sometimes I feel like actors, even seasoned ones, they are in this, but they really don't know what their brand is, what their style is, what they're actually standing for, where they can be casted, right? If you don't know that, how is the casting director supposed to know that? How are the industry players supposed to know who you are if you don't, if you haven't defined that for yourself? Multiple my back. I love that. Yes, for sure. What is a my back? It's craftsmanship. My back is the luxury segment of Mercedes, right? It's every nut, every bolt is specifically designed for that car. That's why it's so hugely expensive. You have a lot of leg room, but with a Maybach, you can go off road, right? You have to stay on clean roads, otherwise this beautiful car that is hugely expensive will be ruined in a moment. Right? So you know exactly what kind of style you like to interpret. Yeah, this is good, right? So are you spicy? Are you aggressive? Are you rough? Are you mild? Are you nice? Are you upset all the time? What type of brand do you represent? Because we need to take it from there. The inventory says, where am I now? The inventory says, fuck the past. The inventory says, what weapons do I need? And now we get to the mission, right? I want to be a comedic actor. And now we specify what type of comedic actor or what type of actor in general, right? By kind of identifying our brand, identifying our style. Adjectives are a great way to describe that. Put adjectives onto the paper. Actually, we're going to do that later anyways. Like, what are my adjectives? Open up a dictionary, open up a so-called book. Beautiful stuff. Pages printed out of wood, kind of assembled together. This is a book, right? You can have it everywhere, take notes. Great invention, right? So you have to kind of come up with that. You have to create those mental folders, and you have to ask yourself, does my mission still reflect my brand? Is my mission still aligned with what I want to achieve? Or do I want something else? Do I really wish for that? Or is it like deep down inside of me, something else that I want? And I'm going to give you a very extreme example, which is a true example. One of my early clients, before I actually started the COACHMC studio, in like, I had loose clients, right? I was once coaching in New York, and then I coached in Northern Africa. I was, helping people just for the sake of it without having a company, right? And I was jumping in for friends, recording. I always had the coaching in me, even at drama school times. And I once coached someone in Italy, and after, she, in my opinion, she was a great actress, but she was never like really booking the role. She was never really kind of, having her breakthrough moment. And then in the end, I asked her, like, does this mission really fit you? Like, what is it that you really want to? What is it that you like? Like, where do you want to go? Is it really this that you're wishing for? To be in an agency, to wait for a casting, record, and all that? No, Lorenzo, this is not what I want to do. So what is it that I like to do? And I'm just telling you the truth here, right? It's like, I love to be loved. I love to be very sensual. I'm a very horny person all the time. I love a little bit more of action. And I told her, it's like, maybe you should get into the porn industry. And she did. And she became a porn actress. Lord and behold. Yes. And now she's, shooting XR movies. And she's happy. She's making her money. She does her thing. She opened up a production company. Now she's happy. And she changed her lifestyle. Her boyfriend now is also a porn actor and all this stuff. And that's okay. I mean, I wouldn't do it, of course not, but obviously it was something that made her happy, and she needed years and years and going all sorts of direction until she finally realized, you know what? As crazy as that sounds, I want to do this. So do you really wish for what you're writing down right now, for what you're really envisioning? Do you really wish for that road that you're going down right now? This is super, super important, because most of the time we get influenced by our friends, our family, exterior opinions, social media, the environment in general, by media, by the news, by, you know, the people that we're frequenting, right? And they're all kind of installing opinions, and we're all thinking their thoughts. On average, we're thinking 75,000 thoughts a day. And here's the thing. 80% of those thoughts are old and not from ourselves. This is crazy. So our brain is busy 24 hours a day of thinking of 50,000 thoughts that don't belong to us. This is an immense capacity that we are using in the wrong way. And so therefore, I ask yourself to be honest with you when you're doing this, right? Career strategy means also to be absolutely radically honest to yourself. Like, do I really wish for that? No vanity goals, no accolade. Oh, the Oscar. Yeah, okay. But do you really need that? Do you really want that? Cannes, Venice? Or do you want porn industry? Or do you want, I don't know, podcasts? Or do you want to publish something under a different name and write weird stories and kind of doing voiceovers for them and sending them? What is it? What is your real desire? Can you write that down in the chat box? Once you have that real desire, the third step will be to kind of set up a time frame. Time frames are not always equal. Again, the date might change, the goal doesn't. So there are 3 basic time frames, and we've all heard of them, right? This is nothing new. There is the short term, the medium, and the long term. This was 2016. It took us 7 years to bring this company to the United States, to be successful, to run online courses, to have physical clients, to run networking events, to be requested on all 4 time zones of this world. Because I'm working with German clients, I'm working with Northern European, Scandinavian clients, or that are residing in the Northern European countries. I'm working with the Philippines, I'm working with Spain, Great Britain, and with all 4 time zones in the United States. I've never, ever, ever imagined that back then, 2016, when I wrote this. So sometimes long-term, of course, is excruciating, but long-term is, of course, the most important term. Because if you can do it for at least 5 years, whatever you're doing, you will have success. Because if you still are, you know, that doesn't mean that you have everything that you need. You maybe need to pivot, you maybe need to acquire different skills, different weapons, different collaborations, but your mind is still at it, even after 5 years. So you will have success. Do something for 10 years consistently. There is no way you won't have success. No way. Everyone can achieve something important if you keep at it. Stubbornness is undistinguishable from being a genius. It's undistinguishable. So long term is over 5 years, and I know that's hard to kind of understand, like, yeah, I have to, you know, stay 5 years committed to something. But if you really love it, what's the problem? I've played 18 years in a soap opera with on and off periods, with bigger breaks in between. But the last chunk of work that I did was 6 years every day. 6 years every day. Acting, acting, acting. And I love it. What's the problem? So yeah, I do it. Medium term is like everything, you know, up to 6, 7, 8, 9 months, I would say. That's a medium term goal. And short term can be immediate, like tomorrow, or something a bit more extended, like 5 months, 3 months, couple of weeks, whatever it is, right? So is it the real desire, what I really want, achievable in 5 years, in 9 months, or tomorrow? Because one of the biggest problems people have by putting down a strategy is by confusing long-term and short-term. A lot of people focus long-term, but then they get frustrated if they don't have short-term results, like having an income, like, you know, making some money on the side to kind of, you know, otherwise it's a bit tough. and therefore they get frustrated if they don't see immediate results, but all of their goals are long-term. So try to have a healthy balance between your short-term goals and your long-term goals. And immediately afterwards, something that I didn't do there because that was a rough sketch. Like I said, I didn't know anything about visualizing and putting strategies down back then. Of course, as you can see, it was just a beautiful, drawing that at least had something, but it wasn't really the thing to do. But, and I'm going to read your comments in a second. Once you have your 3, time periods, think about the obstacles. I think it was Michael Caine in his book. A mediocre actor knows there will be surprises on set. A remarkable actor goes out to search for the surprises. He wants the surprise. He wants the obstacle. A great actor loves problems. So what are the obstacles? Be sincere, embrace them, because then it's happy solution time. Let me get to the comments a little bit. So, Kati, I want to be a series regular as a dramatic comedy actress. Right. Make it even more specific. For how many years? How long do you want to play this series? 3 years? 4? 5? Like, I love this goal. This is pretty good already. Like a working actor on a series, and that series goes on at least for 5 years. That is a nice long-term goal, right? Dramatic comedy actress. Series regular, good. Maybe a lead actress one day. You want to start as a series regular, and then maybe right? And maybe one day a lead actress, right? Stephanie, Jean, my desire is to get my foot into the door in commercials, skits, short, film, etc. What type of commercials? Because not every commercial is equal, right? Is it like poster commercials? Is it beauty commercials? Video commercials? Is it for cars, insurances? What type of commercials are we talking here? What type of short movies do you like to shoot? Horror, comedy, drama? What type of shorts? Abstract, eccentric, nouvelle vague, modern, contemporary, flux? What is it? What type of shorts? What type of films? Make it specific, right? You have to visualize as specific, as granular as possible. Otherwise, it's difficult for your brain to create a connection with your future possibilities, because you have to align with your future possibilities. This is too vague. Sounds good, it's bold, but it's fluffy. I can't really grasp it. I can't really hold it. It's not tangible enough. Make it more specific. Alexander says, it's funny, 2 years ago, I started to become a quantum healer. Beautiful stuff. And this workshop, the teacher asked me what I want. And the teacher asked me what I maybe want, and I asked acting and coaching today. I'm here. Yes. And he asked what kind of like Sturm der Liebe. Yes. Yeah. It's great, right? If we really kind of grasp it, right? Our body knows it, and then it kind of tells our brain where to go. It's incredible. So Victoria says, when defining the desire, how do I know where the 80% influence thoughts stop and where the true desire starts? That's an excellent question. That's an excellent question. Where do I know? And here comes a very frustrating answer. You don't. You have to practice. You have to practice new thoughts. How do I practice new thoughts? By doing stuff differently. Because here's the thing. If you do day in, day out the same stuff, then you will have the same thoughts. And they will come from the usual and regular sources. If you start doing stuff differently, if you start your day in a different way every day, if you start reading new books, if you start meeting new people, like people that are really outside of your comfort zone, out of your friendship zone, out of your usual environment zone, if you start traveling to places you've never been before, if you start networking, connecting, all these things, the word, the imperative word here is new. You need to do new stuff, new things, think new thoughts, hear new music, write new words. Learn new lines, then you will start having new thoughts. because it is really hard right now to distinguish where are my thoughts and where are thoughts from someone else. If you're always doing the same stuff, you don't know. But if you start doing new things, you will start having new thoughts, and then you will start kind of accumulating them. And then at a certain point, when those new things are saturated, you will realize, oh, I'm thinking again the reoccurrent stuff. So I go into a new direction. I pivot. So it's a mission of practice. It's a mission of throwing yourself into the unknown. And I know that feels uncomfortable. I know we are scared of the unknown. I know we are scared of change. But if you really want to think stuff that really belongs to you, you have to change. You have to stress test your product, your personality, your character, all that. Gail Delgado, I will be an actor of short films, movies, and series. What type of movies? What type of series? What type of shorts? Little by little appearing on theaters to eventually knock the door off the art of this industry. Very good. Define it more. Make it more specific. Tati's example is fantastic. I want to be a working actor on a series. Now you can also add for, the period of time. I want to be a working actor on a series as a series regular for 5 years at least. And after 3 years, I want to be so good that the production company writes me a bigger role. So it's a reoccurring role. It's a series regular. And then after another year, I'm so good that the production company acknowledges that and then writes me as a protagonist. And I'm going to do everything in everything that I'm capable of to achieve that. And once I achieve that, I look out for a new goal. I have this little list here. It's super, super like schematic, right? So here we have our first step. Our first step as an actor is to play one scene only. Focus on that. Focus on one scene. And then you want to be in that show for a whole episode, maybe be the guest star and have more minutes. And then maybe you want to get into a reoccurring role, right, in that series. And then maybe you want to become a regular. And maybe you get into the protagonist. And then you start being annoyed of that and you're looking for a new project. And in a new project, you start again. Like, it's a bigger show, so I'm going to be a bit modest. So I'm going to start with the bigger show with just one scene. And then I'm going to work my way up to the guest star. And then I'm going to work my way up to the lead of this new show that is better than the old show. And once I'm there, I start applying for a new show again. And this is all the way up, step by step. Always add more and more ambition, because ambition creates purpose. And once you align your value with that purpose, you start focusing. And focusing is also a great way of not thinking anybody else's thoughts, of not being attached to your prior experiences, of not feeling still hurt by something that happened 3 years ago, or insecure. And believe me, if you look at me now, yeah, coach, you can talk. I mean, you're coming out of a series that you played for 18 years. You have like almost 2,200 acting credits on IMDb. So yeah, it's easy for you. It's not, because even if you have 22 IMDb acting credits, guess what? You have to get better. You have to improve. People have already an opinion. You have a reputation to defend. So again, we start the ladder climbing up. Right. So there's always a quest. There's always a challenge. It will never stop. To me right now, it's really hard to kind of accept the project, because it has to be better than the previous one. And people that look at me know me right now internationally. I have people that know me in LA. I have people that know me in New York. I have an agency in London. I have an agency in LA. I have an agency in Italy. So I have to make sure that all these people are satisfied. So the stakes are always getting higher. There's no easy way out of this. All right. It's not that one day, once you achieve fame, yes, I won 30 accolades. I don't have them here. I don't know where they are. My mom has the most important one in her living room. And then some of them are like spread out all over the globe. So all my accolades, but now I have to win more accolades and they have to get more prestigious, right? I was on the open Oscar list. Now I have to get nominated. And then maybe one year win the Oscar, right? It's always improving, always stepping up your game. It will never stop. And let me tell you this, like I said, I started like doing art on the street. I was a graffiti artist. I was a street artist. I was literally living and making my money on the street. It wasn't rough. I mean, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't like I wasn't living in a Paris banlieue, right, with criminals around me. I'm not saying that, but I was, from there to now giving master classes, courses, writing the second draft of my book, and traveling all over the place to LA and communicating with all these fancy pantsy actors. Of course, there's a way to it. It takes time. It's not so. It's like you're saying, Gail. Can you show the steps again? Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm sorry. This is really, really like very, very simple stuff, right? Your first step is one scene, one great acting scene in a great show, in a cool show, in a good show, in a medium show. It doesn't matter. You get one scene, and then maybe your next objective is to have a whole episode as a guest star. And then maybe they book you again. And we've experienced that. We've experienced that with our clients, that they were so good as a guest star for a whole episode that they got offered a reoccurring role. So this happens. It's absolutely like the same thing I can say for myself. Like the role I started in Sturm der Liebe was, it was beautiful soap opera, but they didn't, they never thought of me being the absolute protagonist of the show. They just thought, yeah, he's a great addition to the ensemble piece. But I worked my way up every day. Every day I was putting in something special. Every day I was trying to improve. Every day I showed craftsmanship, punctuality, professionalism, all that. So they thought, let's give him a shot. Let's try it. Maybe he's a great protagonist. And with me as a protagonist, the show got record ratings. I'm talking about records broken. People coming in and saying like, you broke a record. It's just like, what? Yes, you broke a record, right? So it's about stepping up your game, right? And then you have the series regular, and then you have the protagonist, and then all of a sudden you're bored and you start a new project that is slightly better, and you start again, right? It's very simple. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's pretty simple. Focus. Focus is one major aspect of this game. Antennas out, antennas in, right? Antennas out, I collect inspiration, right? I sit there, I'm Oscar Wilde, I'm receiving the message from the universe, and then antennas in, now work, right? So we need to be a coal miner and Oscar Wilde. We need to be Rambo and Mona Lisa. We need to be hard knuckles and also creativity, right? It's always a combination of both. So it's important to start small, even if it's not the true desire. Victoria, yes, because that is great, because you realize it by doing it. This is not my real desire. Okay, accumulated experience, let's go into a different direction. Or maybe you realize, oh, this is actually good. This could be my real desire. There are two ways of loving someone. Whether you fall in love with someone right away, and you're very privileged if that happens, and it happened to me, and I'm a happy motherfucker because of that. I know that. But sometimes love grows, and that's also beautiful. Sometimes, love needs time to evolve. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, I'm loving this project. Oh, I'm loving this person. Oh, I'm loving this book, right? You start reading the book. Man, this book is tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. But you keep at it. And so here is one big secret. If you keep at it, your brain starts adding value to your mission, because your brain starts realizing that you are spending a lot of time with it. So internally, your brain starts kind of putting up categories, and focus goes into the category which has the highest value for our brain. So the more time we spend with an issue, the more valuable it becomes for our brain. The more focus we put in it, the more energy flows into it, because energy flows where our concentration goes. So what obstacles are going to come your way? A lot. And so when obstacles come our way, it's happy solution time, because the solution, or coming to the solution, will fortify our self-esteem, will make us a more flexible, adaptive worker in all circumstances, and will show to the responsible people out there that they can count on us. If it's happy solution time and you have a problem and you have an obstacle that you can solve for yourself, who helps me? Write down who can potentially help you. YouTube, Google, a coach, a webinar, some friends. You go to like an open class. Libraries, city halls, open schools, open colleges, they offer all types of free courses. Courses like this one, like a masterclass on Eventbrite, right? Go out. Who helps me? Ask the universe will help you. Specifically, who helps me with this problem? Now look out for that. Then make a list of all the steps that you will need, right? That will take to solve this problem, right? Let's say, let's make it very simple. There is someone asking you, "Hi, can you audition for this role?" Yeah, sure. But this role is the character that you need to interpret is a great fencer, somebody who can fight with a sword. That's an obstacle, right? You can't fight with a sword. Like, not everybody's growing up is like, sure, I can fence, I can fight with a sword. So who helps me? You reach out for the people, you practice every day, you make a list of all the steps necessary. So you are convincing the day when you're auditioning for that role where your character needs to fight with a sword. Again, when problems appear, your dates will change, but not your mission. Keep that in mind. I want to tell you a story to get to the second strategy, right? This is our inventory, right? This is our mission setting, our time frame, our values and everything, and what we have to expect. So this is one big important kind of folder that we have to kind of internalize and work on in order to have success as actors, as creators. Now we will get to the second one. We talked about the growth mindset or happy mindset or optimistic mindset, how important that is, because that will of course influence our attitude, that will influence our performance, that will get us the accolades, and that will enforce our belief system. So that is important too. But here's this little story. Peter Jackson, since he grew up, he was a big Lord of the Rings fan, a huge Peter Jackson fan, like huge. And even though he was known for his horror movies that are great, by the way, The Frighteners, and he also shot the Elephant Man, which is an excellent movie, right? So he shot a lot of very, very cool movies, very different from each other. Brain Dead as well, and a variety of different movies. And he had already like a standing in entertainment industry, but he was still lacking greatness. He was still lacking like major achievements. He was known to a niche, to a certain group of moviegoers and movie lovers, but he wanted to be known worldwide. And he set this goal with his wife: I want to be known by 1 billion people, which is absolutely insane, right? How can I achieve that? To be known by 1 billion people. And he was, kind of going through his scripts, going through his ideas in New Zealand, going through his little studio back then. And then he was always coming back to The Lord of the Rings, to this book. And he said, at a certain point in time, Lord of the Rings was sold more than the Bible. So potentially over 1 billion people have read Lord of the Rings by Tolkien. So what if we turn Lord of the Rings into a movie? And so therefore I can reach 1 billion people, like his initial goal. And his wife said, well, that's impossible. and he said, like, why is it impossible? Because we don't have the special effects team. We don't have the necessary budget. And we don't have the connections necessary over here in New Zealand to kind of produce a movie like that. Because to produce a movie like Lord of the Rings, we need to go to Hollywood. And Hollywood won't produce Lord of the Rings. And Peter Jackson asked his wife, why? And here is also a truth bomb, and I'm sorry for releasing that. Because people in Hollywood don't know what they're doing, don't know what they're looking for, and don't know where they're going. They simply don't know. They execute movies, but they don't have a vision. So when you go and tell them, yeah, I want to do Lord of the Rings, they will just laugh at you. They will never be able to envision that. Lord of the Rings is too big to make a movie out of it. So Peter Jackson thought about this concept for a while. And then he went to the bank and he took out a loan of $2 million. Basically, he mortgaged everything from his car to his house to everything he owned, jewelry, everything. Peter Jackson took out a $2 million loan because he realized his wife was right. And so what he did was, I'm going to show the executives in Hollywood how it's going to look like. So they see the vision already. And then they just have to decide whether or not they like to finance it. It's going to be way, way easier. But of course, the risk was immense, because if you're mortgaging out your life, that means if you fail with that, you're pretty much broke, right? And you have to come up with a strategy to pay $2 million back to the banks. And probably they will kind of, take everything away from you. So he was really risking his whole existence to do that. And so he shot a pre-visualization, this is how we call it. And he fabricated a couple of masks and props and all that, and took all this and brought it to various studios to Hollywood. And they all said no, until one guy, of course, said yes. And he said, it's not going to be one movie, it's going to be a trilogy. And this is how Lord of the Rings started. And a couple of years later, he got 11 Oscars. And it's one of the biggest grossing films of all time, right? And to me, it's one of the best movies of all time. Even though if it's fantasy, I think it's really hard to say, because of course movies are all different, but the way they played, the way these actors interacted with each other, I think is one of the greatest ensemble pieces of all time. Everybody was on top of his game. Like everybody. Like we have Christopher Lee in that movie, who is Sauron. We have, Ian McKellen and so on and so forth. And everybody, Carl Urban, Viggo Mortensen, everybody is fantastic. Kate Blanchett, everybody's fantastic. Samuel Rice Davis, you name it. Everybody was fantastic. Yes, Jackson had no plan B. He was, he went all into this project. So this is just to tell you, what you have to face sometimes, really, and I could tell you about Francis Ford Coppola when he was shooting Apocalypse Now, right? Watch the documentary, the Redux documentary. It's Heart of Darkness. It's absolutely insane how he financed that movie, like traveling back and forth from Hollywood to the Philippines, always searching for Marlon Brando that was sitting somewhere in a tree, smoking all sorts of drugs and being completely annihilated by the consumption of whatever he was taking in, and kind of managing Dennis Hopper and all these crazy actors on set. I mean, it was in the middle of Woodstock, Revolution, Flower Power, and shooting a war movie back then in the Philippines, in the jungle with, military equipment, where at the same time, the military equipment was also used to fight a civil war in the north of the Philippines. I mean, it can't get really crazier than that, but this is sometimes necessary. I could tell you about Vin Diesel, who took 50 grand out of a loan, and then he shot his own movie and then kind of sent us out, like where he was auditioning in, all different types of roles. And Steven Spielberg saw that. It's like, who is this crazy guy who's producing like a 50K type of pre-visualization just about himself playing all these different roles? And he gave him a shot in Saving Private Ryan. And this is how Vin Diesel's career started. Or Sylvester Stallone, that even sold his dog, right, to kind of develop his script. And by the end, he kind of bought his dog back for $50,000. So there is no limitation. It's always problem, solution, problem, reaction, solution, problem, reaction, solution, right? We need to plant our seeds in order to have a career. We need to plan our acting career seeds. How do we do that? First of all, let's network. Let's collaborate. Let's reach out to people. We arrived here in Miami 6 months ago. I arrived 5 months ago. Yesterday, it was like 5 months ago. And the day after, we started networking. We started going out, meeting people. We're doing this since then twice a week, at least. At least twice a week, we're going out. We're spending money to look nice, buy clothes, being informed about what, and we're going to networking events. We're talking to people, we're telling them about our story, we're distributing our business cards, we're telling them about our vision, we're inspiring, we're accumulating experience and knowledge, we're trying to take as many notes as we can. Networking is a great way to plan your acting career seed. You can network online. You have Facebook community groups that are just talking about acting and entertainment, where you can show your headshots, where you can read with someone, you can help another fellow actor, colleague out with his reading, with his rehearsal, where you can give critique, where you can write stuff. I mean, there are billions of ways online to get known. right, to distribute your product. You can contact coaches, you can go to festivals, you can, you know, go to screenings, to festival events, to open screenings, to movie nights, art movie nights, all that stuff, right? Reach out to everybody, network the hell out of your environment. And if you're living in a small town, do it online. And sometimes you take your time, you take your money and go to a bigger town where something major is happening, like an event, like a festival, like a major screening, or like a famous director coming in, all that stuff, right? And you make sure that you're there when those meetups are happening so they can see your face. As easy as that. They can notice you. There's always a Q&A going on somewhere. There's always like a film market somewhere, even if it's small, it doesn't matter. What matters is you are there. So networking is a huge part of the entertainment business. It's the phantom aspect. I call it the phantom aspect of our job, because it's not visible later on when we're shooting, but it got us there. So it's hidden, but it's very, very important. It's soft structure work that we need to fulfill in order to have success. Another way, like Vin Diesel was doing it, he planted a seed in a different way. He said, all right, I'm going to shoot my own movie where I play all the parts. I'm going to invest $50,000 because I believe, right? He reinforced what we were talking about. He had this belief system reinforced, and he said, I'm not going to detract from that. I'm not going to pivot. Maybe my date is changing. It's not going to be my goal that is changing. So he produced this movie, he sent it out, and he got a part in Saving Private Ryan, who won a couple of Oscars. And he played, you know, he was on set with Matt Damon, with all the other greats, Tom Hanks, you name it. As a nobody, he was a Broadway actor, actually a pretty good theater actor. Nobody actually ever believed that Vin Diesel is going to be an action star. And now he has... yeah, he is now the star of the biggest grossing franchise of all time, right? Fast and Furious is now shooting its 10th movie, and it grossed billions of dollars. This guy invested $50,000 in his own portfolio, and now he's making billions of dollars, right? So shoot your own short movie. Kati, I can tell you this, she's shooting movies. She's shooting her short movies. She's writing scripts. She's putting her stuff out there, and she gets noticed, right? She does a great job in doing that. There's no reason why you shouldn't. Doesn't matter how much you invest, do it. You know, develop your own scripts, develop your own stories, send them out. Make sure that you envision where you want to be. So if you shoot a short movie that you have written and you realize, wow, this is not a good role for me, bada boom, you know exactly, this is not your brand, this is not your style. Let's shoot something else. Let's find your niche. Attend master classes such as this one. There are workshops all over the place, open classes at drama schools. There are movie making classes online and also in real time, live happening, even in smaller cities. There are theater groups, amateurs theater groups, like semi-professional theater groups. Go there, play with them, attend their shows, right? And another great way of getting noticed is helping. This is partly what, you know, the success of the coach is kind of representing, because by like generally helping other people, you get good karma, you get a good reputation, good energy, and you know, this is how we then get noticed, because people are talking about us online, live, on events. I'll give you an example, like through our work that we did online, because we have this show called Talks on Acting, where we invite coaches, where we invite actors, entertainment industry professionals. We invite them on the show, we interview the hell out of them, we stay in contact, we follow up on our shows, we stay in contact with them. And once, you know, a student is hitting, let's say, LA or New Orleans or New York, we send our students, our clients, to these contacts that we have already. That reinforces our relationship. They will be immensely grateful for, you know, making money with our clients, because we're sending them over to them, whether that's a headshot photographer or an acting school or like a private coach. And so therefore they will of course recommend us if someone is in our town. And so this is how we grow as well, right? We started with an interview, we started by helping, we started by spreading the word, and now the income is coming back to us, the revenue is coming back to us, the notoriety is coming back to us because of that helping mindset. So start from that generosity standpoint, and you will see how immense you will grow. Because if you're always focused on yourself, what I can do, or what I can do, it's like, how can you help? What is it that the other person needs? Right? Because the acting community is a bit of a strange community, right? We're all, single-minded in this, but actually it's a great cultural vibrance, right? And when we help each other, we get that back. We get that resonance back. So tap into that very powerful field. Don't exclude yourself. There's always something that you're going to add. There's always somebody you can help. There's always something where you're like, oh, okay, maybe I can jump in here. Maybe I can read for this person. Maybe I can help someone out online with a rehearsal. Maybe I can help with a self-tape production, whatever it is. Helping is a great way of, getting noticed. Then, of course, there is the social media aspect. Planting the acting seed could also potentially mean to be present on social media. How? Many ways. You can go on YouTube, create your own channel, record monologues, and post them once a week. You can post your headshots online in the Facebook community tab group, and you can, you look out for critique. Or maybe you post a scene, maybe you post a script, and you receive your feedback. You can create all sorts of content, right? Don't get trapped by the like ratio vanity metric, but just see it as an exercise to work on your skill set, to enhance your impact, your outreach, and also to kind of get into pockets of other communities where you would never have thought to be in the first place before starting this whole thing. So social media definitely is a great way of planting your acting career seed, right? Getting noticed, working on your skill set, and enjoying the liberty, right, to create scenes, right? It's a beautiful opportunity. It's like, okay, I'm going to create something for myself. Nobody's calling me for an audition. I'm going to audition. I mean, we have the internet. So you just download a scene, memorize it, you play it, record it, and then you post it. Where's the problem? There isn't any. It's just your expectation, your fear of putting yourself out there, of being exposed, whatever it is. But how are people supposed to know what you're standing for as a brand, as a style, if you're not showing them in the first place? Right? And so social media is a wonderful opportunity to kind of do that. Back in the days when I started with acting, I had folders that I had to send out. I started with VHS, and then I kind of migrated to CDs. Right? No USB stick, like CDs and folders and pictures and headshots. It was heavy. That I had to go to the post office and send this out, and then maybe no response was coming in. Social media gives you like immediate response. There's an immediate reaction, also an immediate gratification. That's wonderful. It's also when you're going through a rough patch or dry periods, you're not getting booked or not any auditions. It's a great way to kind of stay active, to stay warm, to stay in the zone, right? To be always related to the entertainment industry. Entertainment industry, it's you are the entertainer. It's not like this metaphysical, whatever abstract world. Oh, once I get, you are already in the entertainment industry. You're already in there. You're already enjoying success, right? Send it out there. Show, not tell. Show. I want to be a great actor. Show me. Yeah, I want to play this role. Show me. I feel like I'm, yeah. Show me. So people can see it, and then they can judge. Are you afraid of the judgment? Probably, but you shouldn't be, because we're all judges. We're all judging. We're all commenting. We're all, reviewing. It's part of who we are. How many actors do we need to turn in a light bulb? 1,001. Because one turns in the light bulb, and 1,000 other actors will say, oh, I would have done it in another way. No, this is not good. I would have done it differently. Yeah, we always judge, but by the end of the day, it's going to be gone. The light bulb is in, bada boom, I switch it on, and then there is the light. So don't be afraid of judgment. It doesn't matter anyways what other people think of you. You just have to invest in your quality and being original with what you do. And that originality can be fleshed out by practicing. Social media is a great way. It's a great practicing field. I see it as such. I never get bothered by what people write about me. And there are some nasty comments out there, I'm going to tell you. Every time you're going to put yourself out there, there's going to be a reaction. But guess what? The reaction is it's called the algorithm of success, right? The metric of jealousy is the coefficient of your success. The more people are jealous of you, the more they badmouth you, the more they talk bad behind your back or comment in a nasty way, the more success you're enjoying. Because people usually want to talk people down who are on the right path. The devil wants always you to be confused, you to be without any orientation. He wants to talk you down constantly because he knows that you're on the right path. If people are not talking bad about you, you're not doing the right thing. If they are not jealous, you have to change your product. If they don't envy you, that means that you haven't accomplished anything. Because envy must be earned. Compassion comes for free. Show Me was a review in Friedrichstadtpalast, Berlin. Yeah, I know that place. I lived there for 4 years. I like this kind of telling stories. Yeah, me too, Alexander. Thanks so much. That's true. Yeah. These type of stories to show. And where else can I show myself? My website, right? My pictures, my headshots, my resume, my videos that I upload on my website. It's a great gallery. It's a great way of showing yourself, right? Of not telling, but showing what you're all about. And this is a long-term seed that you need to plant in order to kind of enjoy that success, because social media has changed our, professional landscape. But in the end, it hasn't changed at all. Because back in the days, what was necessary was sending out all these packages, and then you were waiting, and sometimes nothing was happening, and there was no feedback at all. But in the end, it was all about producing the new material and later material and more updated material and more throughout the year where you were doing this. And now you don't have to send it out. You just have to press publish, press record and press publish. So nothing really has changed. The medium has changed, but our mission hasn't changed. Who we are hasn't really changed. As actors, we always have to kind of step up our game and be creative. If you build that portfolio, that adequate portfolio, that resume, pictures, videos, make sure that you're not afraid of investing, good money in it, because it's an investment in yourself. Like Vin Diesel, like Peter Jackson, like Sylvester Stallone, like all the others, right? They invested in themselves. They believed in themselves, and they got success with it. Because the thing is, and this is more of a mindset aspect. If we don't invest in ourselves, we won't believe it, because money is an attribution of importance. So if we don't invest in ourselves, our brain will never actually assume that we are good or that this is important to us. Once we start investing, once we start building, our brain attributes more importance to that. Our focus will grow, will get sharper and laser-like, and therefore we will get better. So it's again a positive vicious cycle. You can't escape that. If you are not willing to invest, whether that's books, whether that's in new material, whether it's in new headshots, then you are not an actor. Then you're not a creative. Then you are not an artist. As simple as that. I had a gallery owner coming by the other day, and he was looking at my material because we were, discussing me, getting, a place in this gallery, a spot in this gallery, and some time to get shown. And he said, "I love your style, but your material is just not worthy enough." And it's like, what do you mean? The expression? No, he said, it's not the expression. I love what you're doing. The brand is right, everything, but you're just placing it on paper. It's not really valuable. You have to place it on something that is valuable. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, take gold. Like, take a piece of wood, engulf it in gold, and then place your art on top. And now it's valuable. It's like, yeah, I have to invest thousands of dollars to do that. It's like, yes, exactly. But we're going to sell that painting then, or the sculpture then, for $50,000. So yeah, of course. Like Vin Diesel, right? You have to invest something in yourself. But that just reinforces the belief in yourself. Like he said to me what I'm saying to you now. And it's quite funny, but it's really true. It's like, when, I love your drawings, he said, I love your paintings, but it's on paper. And so therefore, if I'm going to exhibit this art, right, that is on paper, everybody that kind of asked me, like, what is the material? And then I said, it's paper. It's like, this has no value, even if it's great art. place it on something that is valuable, and all of a sudden the product will also appreciate value. So it's the investment. I think pretty much we got it. I think pretty much we got it for what I was intending to, you know, kind of share today in terms of acting career strategies. We will get to the Q&A in a second. So just to kind of resume everything, start with a positive mindset and ask yourself who you are, and clean up your mental folders and have a great opinion about yourself, because you're investing in yourself, because you're working on yourself, because you're relentlessly searching for something. And that is great, because the curious people will, in the end, you know, they will be the one, you know, kind of in the end, in the beginning, we ask questions, and in the end, we make affirmations. But we can make affirmations if we haven't asked the great questions beforehand. And so that is absolutely necessary, right, to have that. Then if we kind of take everything with a pinch of humor, because that's necessary, the humor is the part where people have like problems kind of wrapping their head around it. But it's really as easy as saying, is like, if you do it with a smile, your brain won't feel as fatigued as if you're doing it like this. If you're doing it like this, your brain won't be your companion for much longer. Why is Sancho Panza always on the side of Don Quixote? Because it's fun for Sancho Panza to be around him, and for Don Quixote, it's fun to be around Sancho Panza. It's great humor. These, you know, buddy movies. Why do we love buddy movies? Because they're optimistic in a way. Even if bad things happen to them, it's just great. And how can we reinforce our humor? You know, how can we reinforce positivity? Where does optimism come from? By doing little things that will give us gratification instantly. Building something, listening to great music, dancing, like putting ourselves in a good mood, right? That will reinforce the optimistic thing. And sometimes that is even work, right? I have to shut down the blinds, close down all my tabs and switch off my phones. And now I just, you know, put on some great music and I dance like fucking Michael Jackson. And then I sit down and start working because I'm in a great mood. So humor helps me to reinforce a great attitude, which will influence positively my performance, which will lead me to accolades, which will reinforce my belief system, which will then lead me to booking the roles, right? Right. Be specific about your goals. Be sure that you have a realistic, achievable, actionable, reachable time frame where you want to do all this. Make sure that is your real desire, that is really what you're wishing for, that this is really your mission, and that you're not living someone else's dream, and that you know exactly when it's time to put your antennas out, to be open, right? Because creativity needs openness and a tremendous amount of sincerity and honesty. And I mean that's really like radically honest. You have to be, in order to be really creative, you have to be honest with yourself. It doesn't matter how the fuck you look, where you're coming from, what your sexual orientation is, all that doesn't fucking matter. It matters that you are open to suggestions from the universe, from yourself, you are open to what you see. Sometimes it's sometimes it's a billboard that says something and that inspires us. Sometimes it's something that we find on the ground. It's like, wow, this kind of fits into my narrative. Sometimes it's a book that we read. We need to be open. And at the same time, when we realize, okay, I have enough inspiration, antennas in, bada boom, let's do the work. No one disturbs me now. I tell everybody, because I need to make it vocal. I'm working right now. Don't disturb me. On what are you working? On my fucking career. I'm not available today. Tell them, because by telling them, you show your brain, that is important to you. If you're not telling them, if you're not making it, if you're not saying it, it's really air. It stays air. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who wrote The Beautiful Little Prince, he said, a goal without a plan is just a wish. It's so true. So yes, we need to make specific, measurable, actionable, reachable plans. We have to be clear about where our acting flower needs to grow and how it should grow. And once we understand that this is our purpose and we have value and alignment behind that, we start to focus on that. We also realize, what skills do we still need? What weapons do we still need to acquire in order to make this, acting flower grow and blossom and get strong? Before we get to the Q&A, I want to talk about really quick about the courses that we offer, because we offer exactly that. We offer Sancho Panza, a humorous companion for all of your creative quests. Whether you're a public speaker, whether you're a creative writer, whether you're a showrunner, whether you're an actor, an entertainer, stand-up comedian, whatever it is that you have in mind, we have the 10-session course, which is a great way to, because I don't do like big classes. I do one-on-one, one-to-one tailored acting sessions. I study, research, and ask questions about, you know, my client, and together we customize a product that fits accordingly to your quest. It's tailored for your demands. This is a great way to work on your skill set, to work on your strategy, and to have someone, because I'm a coach, I'm a vehicle, right? I help you to get from A to Z. I'm not a teacher. I'm not telling you what to do and then I wait. You can contact me, you can ask me questions. I'm available on YouTube, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I know I put so much knowledge out there. So the 10-session course is a great way to kind of, you know, write your own story, write your own monologue, and put something down that is actionable and that you can use right away. We have the self-tape audition, of course, class, where we teach a lot about the self-tape audition process, where we also assist with the self-tape process, which is a really like important industry standard nowadays, right? Because the business model of Hollywood has changed dramatically, and therefore, like, you know, self-tape auditions have a huge impact on our career, but also like for ourselves, because like I said, it's a great way also to try out new things, to work on your skills, and to use that creative vacuum to fill it up with your ideas, right? Because once we're on set, once we rehearse on stage, the director is going to tell us where we need to go, hopefully. But this this miniature way of doing set life, right? The self-tape audition is like a miniature set. This is your space where you can still kind of go crazy. And sometimes you need someone who kind of, you know, directs the operation so you can focus on the performance. And I love that type of work as well. We work on scripts so you can better define your mission, you can better define your vision, and you can better define what your core purpose is, because each and every one of us has a core purpose, and we can break that down in 5 objectives and work on them hardcore. Yes, because I work hardcore, relentlessly, very focused, and in a determined manner. And if you want to step up your game, if you want to get insider knowledge from the industry, or you want to get into the industry like decisively, you know, make sure to contact me through my website. It's the COACHMC.studio. Let's set up a free trial session, no strings attached. If we find out that we are a great match for each other, because I need to be okay with this as well, but you need to be okay with this as well. If we find that out, we can start the adventure. And it's always great fun. It's always, you know, a way of, yeah, finding out who you are, right? Reflecting a little bit on your talents and improving your skill set and adding maybe new instruments to your toolbox. So make sure to kind of check me out on this one as well. I would love to have you, right? I guess now it's time for the Q&A. So you can unmute yourself and just throw in questions, whatever it is. Have fun.
So what would you say is the biggest difference between the movie industry in the US, or like in Miami and in Germany?
Yeah, that's a great question. So historically, movie industries in Europe are government-funded industries, because after the war, what happened, of course, was there was no independent industry anymore, and so we have a lot of grants and programs in the European Union where we help even the biggest networks, even national networks, right, to, you know, to thrive, and they get supported by the government funds. So if you think of the BBC, if you think of RAI in Italy, if you think of ARD and ZDF in Germany, they're all government funded, right? And you have national fund systems also for the actors, and it's a completely different industry in terms of competition and how you raise money. What does that mean? It means that the topics that, you know, these networks are talking about in Europe, they are like, in terms of variety, they are more restricted. So every country has a certain style. Germany, Scandinavian country, Europe, the UK, Italy, France, they have certain styles that they follow and certain topics that they follow, that they get funded for and they get money for. And so therefore it's I would say an industry that goes way more into a niche, right? So you have the crime sector, which is big in Northern Europe, right? You have a lot of crime stories. And then you have the love and comedy sector in Southern Europe, which is a big factor in Italy and France and Spain. A lot of comedy, like romantic comedies, a lot of, you know, movies about love and all that. And so therefore it has, it's more niche in Europe. It's more niche in Europe, and it has less budget and less money in it, except the UK market. And so therefore they have to rely on co-productions. What is happening in Scandinavia or in Great Britain or in Italy is a perfect example for that, because they're all cross-polluting with their products, right? There's a lot of international and foreign production going on in Italy. There's a lot of foreign production going on in Spain. There's a lot of foreign production going on in Scandinavia. And so therefore it's a bit harder to really kind of identify where you want to take all this, right? Because if you want to break out of the European system, you really have to be absolutely amazing and astonishing to become like a household name, the European TV and film biz. Where in the United States, it's all about the competition and the networks. It's not government funded. There is not like a clear narrative. It's just what makes more money, right? And so therefore, it is like an industry where you have way more financial capabilities, but where the stakes are really high and the pressure is way, way higher, because there is no backup plan. There is no net provided by the government. Yes, the government collaborates with you in the United States, like the defense ministry, right? When it's talking about when we shoot war movies or action movies. So sometimes somebody from the army is coming in, or counselors from the police force are coming in, and they're lending out their, you know, their equipment as well. This happens way less over here, like in Europe. But of course, it's a more diversified, more varied program that you find over here in the United States, but it's harder to compete because stakes are higher, the pressure is bigger. And in both ways, there is no good or bad, interesting. You know, you can, I worked for both systems, and both systems have their pros and cons, for sure. I love the American way of doing things a bit more because it's crazier, because it's open to suggestions, and it's not as narrow-minded and not as niche as the European market.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Super. You talked a lot about taking the steps to achieve your true desire, to achieve the thing you really want to do. And my question is, if the first step isn't your true desire,
right,
how do you know if it's the step you need to take before you take the next step, or if it's just a step that would lead you in another direction you don't want to achieve? How do you know that? Because you said you need to define the steps you want to take to achieve it. But like, you have the desire, but how do you know how to achieve it, because you haven't done it before? Like,
sure, I know.
How do you know that?
Yes, absolutely. That's a great question. So here it is. We talked about short-term, mid-term, and long-term goal, right? And of course, when you have those goals, you have also some sort of an internal or a physical, like a real life, like schedule where you see the results, right? If you set yourself up to say, let's say, in 3 years from now, I want to have a reoccurring role or a guest role in a series, and you don't reach that goal, you simply don't. Not in 3, not in 4, not in 5 years. You're doing clearly something wrong. You're going into the wrong direction. So you have the desire to be in that series, but for some reason, the steps that you're taking, the weapons that you're using, the people that you're collaborating with are not the right ones. So by setting up different time schedules for yourself, you have also a way of checking if you're getting there towards your desire. Now, in general, my firm belief is that the universe is fucking perfect. And what I mean by that is that nothing that you do is an accident, a coincidence, or luck. Everything happens for a reason, and you are exactly in the place that you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do in order to learn the necessary skills to achieve your goals. So I really believe in doing it. I really believe in creating it and making it. And it's not so much about, oh, is this wrong? Is this right? I'm doing something. I'm making something. I'm working towards a goal. And maybe I'm losing a couple of days or weeks, or even months, because I collaborated with the wrong people, or I was working on a role that really led to nowhere, but I still accumulated experience. I still learned a lot of stuff. I still learned about my own value, about my own dignity. I still had a lot of feedback in this process that just reinforced my skill set. So everything in a way is a success. Everything in a way is getting you towards your goal. But like you are saying, like you asked before, when I have thoughts, where do I know that these are my thoughts? Where do I know that these are thoughts from someone else? Yeah, if you don't do something new, then you don't, right? Then you are probably, in this soup, in this gray soup, sucked in of everyday routine that is just repeating itself. So when you have the feeling that you are repeating yourself without improving, then you're probably doing something not completely right. Does that help? Because if you're coming home and said, that was tough today, fuck, but I learned a valuable lesson. Or that was great today, I learned a lot and people liked what I did. Both are good. But if you're coming home and you say, I did something, but it wasn't really bringing me anywhere, I didn't really move my vehicle towards my goal, and that you can break down by having a clear time frame, or more or less clear time frame, then okay, I need to change. Here I need to pivot. My goal stays the same, but my methods will change. And then you test this out, and then you test this out. I give you another example. Dyson, the inventor of the vacuum cleaner without a bag, without a dust bag, right? Dyson invented this vacuum cleaner that has no dust bag. That is just, basically, it's just a plastic thing with a container, and it sucks in all the dirt, and then you can wash out, empty the container, wash it out, and place it back. You don't need dust bags anymore. And so when he was experimenting with his dust cleaner, he registered 1,200 patents, and they all didn't really work. It's similar to Alpha Edison. And when he was asking the patent registry, I was like, why is this not working? And then the patent registry said to him, because people don't know that they need it. So the crazy stuff sometimes is that you have to make sure that people understand how important you are, that you really tell people how important this is that you're doing, and that you're really solving something, that they need to know that you're solving a problem, that they need you, right? You have to make sure that they realize that with you, it's way more fun. And in a way, it's also by letting go of your ego, because sometimes the ego is, getting in our way. This is not what I want. This is not what I desired. This is not giving me any, it's like, yeah, but maybe it's what you need. Maybe it's what you need to know and to experience. So sometimes, like, going through a rough time or rough patch or dry moments where you don't have like immediate results, it's just a way of kind of accumulating the knowledge that you need. Like overnight success comes from 10 years in the making. So in a way, is trust the process, but also look at your time schedule. And if both are not aligned anymore, you have to pivot, you have to change. And when you feel like, hey, this is good, then it's good. But when you feel really bad, exhausted, and somebody trampled over your dignity, you have to ask yourself two things. Did this happen to me so I learned something? Or was it just an evil person that was giving like gratitude, maleficent stuff, and that was hurting me? Like, is this really serving a purpose? Or am I, enduring something that is not getting me anywhere? And yes, it's hard to double check on all these standards, right? Continuously. It's not a simple thing to do. It's hard. But it's reinforcing that strength inside of you. So I don't know if you really kind of got the answer that you wanted, but maybe you got the answer that you needed.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your explanation.
Of course.
My question still is a little bit, you showed us your staircase with the step.
Yes.
Like the first thing you have to do is to play one theme before you take the next step.
Yes.
But do I need to have this plan, like you had the staircase written, before I start, or do I just start and then it comes with it? Do I need this or do I don't need this? Because if my plan was maybe like playing a person a love story that really touches somebody, like I've been touched through art, if this is my desire I want to accomplish at first, do I need to set up the staircase, or do I just start and need to set up the first step? Like
it's an excellent question.
I don't know if it was kind of the first question, but it was also like, do I need to know the plan? Do I need to have the plan in my head to know where I want to go next? Or because if I want to do something I never did, how do I know what a plan is? Do I need a coach for this? Or
yes, like, maybe.
Can I do this myself?
Yeah, yes and no.
Do I need to know the next step before I even did the first one?
No, that for sure, not necessarily. But let me tell you, let me give you the answer in another way. If you don't make a plan for yourself, where you want to go, what you want to do, what you like to achieve in a certain time frame, then you are on someone else's plan. Do you like to be on someone else's plan? Do you like to work for an agenda that you don't know? Do you like to be commanded around by someone you don't care about, doing something that you don't like or not necessarily enjoy all the time? Do you like that? No. So yes, you need a plan. Like, again, this was very, very rough, right? In 2016, I did not know about any strategic goal setting, about planning, about the reptilian center, how our brain works. This is knowledge that I accumulated later. But I had a plan. I had a desire. I had a strong wish. And then I pivoted. And then I thought, okay, I need some other skills. And then I realized, okay, in order to impress this person, I need to acquire something that was not in my initial plan. But now I deem it necessary. Again, it's not always what we want, but we realize if we are really implementing our plan, what we need. You don't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you might find something that you need, right? It's really like that. I mean, you have a bold vision, and then all of a sudden somebody asks you, you have a bold vision, and you need money to make that vision come true. You need like $2,000 or $50,000 like Vin Diesel, right? To kind of, shoot his own project. And because nobody was hiring him. And did he know that he's a great actor? Did he know that he's an action star? Did he know that he will be, someday on the billboard? He believed that he had something special, but he, of course, didn't know how to really kind of get there. So since nobody was hiring him, he shot his project for himself. And in order to make those 50K, he had to work on different things that had nothing to do with his initial plan. And in order to write a script, he had to do things that he never thought would be necessary in order to be an action star or to be a movie star, right? He had to write his own script. In order to write a good first script, he had to find help you know, to reach out to people who would help him with writing a script. And then when he had the script, he needed to kind of, you know, get financial backers and then send it out to the people who were really relevant. But of course, you can't send a script to Steven Spielberg personally, right? There is no such thing. There is an office, but, and, you know, in order to get to this office, you need to bribe someone. You need to be a party. You need to attend like an event. You need to get into the offices where the people are that run the office of Steven Spielberg. Does that make sense? It's always kind of figuring out the next step. Yes, I want to play one scene. What I haven't written down on this paper here. When you play your first scene, it's the most important scene of your life. And then when you get your reoccurring, or maybe a whole episode, that is the most important episode of your life. When you're auditioning, that is the most important moment in your life. This alignment with doing everything in your system possible, and even a little bit more, to make that thing that you're working right now special, that is definitely the thing that you need to kind of get to the next step and to the next step. And you will see that in order to reach the next step, what do you need to do the whole episode to get the guest star role? What do you need to do? That scene that you shot, that was the best scene that you have ever shot, needs to be on it needs to be on a show reel, right? So you need someone who puts that scene on a show reel. So you need to call someone, and then he will tell you, yeah, I can edit it for you, but I'm not great with fonts. I'm not great with writing names and graphics. So you need someone else for the graphic design department, right? And so you need to call him. It's like, can you do me a font? It's like, yeah, my rate is $200. It's like, just for placing my name on a video? No, I will get someone else. And then you start working on convincing someone to help you to put your self-tape together or your showreel together, so you can resend it to the production company, so you will get booked for the guest role. Is the guest role the biggest role of your life? Yes, for that moment, yes. Is that your ultimate desire, to play a guest role? No, of course not. It's just the step that brings it towards. And even if that sounds a bit like a contradiction, your goal doesn't change, right? The success that you want and all that doesn't change. But then over time, you realize, I'm better suited for this. Like with my fellow colleague actress from Italy, it started shooting porn movies because she realized, okay, I'm an actress, but now I completely changed the genre. And I got really successful with it. And now she's happy. She's doing exactly what she wants. And now, if I want to get from the whole episode to a reoccurring role like Kati, like, you know, to come back, to be part of the show, what do I need? I need some better material. One scene is not enough. So I need to reach out to a coach. I need to study a new monologue that kind of reflects my style. What is your style? I have to write down what my style is. I have to be sure what my style is. Again, you know, it's one question that leads to a lot of affirmations. And if you do this all the time, you realize this is the process of success. Because we always have to reinvent ourselves. We always have to pivot a little bit. And there is not knowing before achieving. Once you achieved it, it's easy to say, yes, exactly how I wanted it. It's never going to be that way. It's always going to be a shot in the dark. When you are standing in front of Mount Everest, right? Standing in front of Mount Everest, your desire is to get on top of Mount Everest, 8,848 meters. Do you know all the steps that you need to take? No. But you can make sure that you have the right equipment. You can make sure that you have the map. You can make sure that you're looking out for the best weather conditions. You can make sure that you kind of informed yourself by all the people that you know and all the resources that you get your hand on, by all the interviews that you did, like, where is the best passage? Where should I go if it's summertime? Where should I go if it's wintertime? Where should I go if it's springtime? What winds do I need to avoid? Which passage do I have to take if it's strong wind? If it's slow wind, where do I need to go? Is it really hot? All these things. Of course, you need the information, but you don't know necessarily all the steps, right? But you just know that you want to get to the top, and you will do everything possible to get there. Does that make sense?
Yes. I like the example of the Mount Everest because, and I even like the example with Katie playing the reoccurring character even more, because before that it was a bit like theoretic, like how yeah, but yes, that was a nice example for me.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you. So yes, it's you know, a creative career to explain that, you know, in a couple of hours, it's of course like it's quite an undertaking, and it took me a lot of time, really, believe it or not, to find also the courage like for myself and say, yeah, I'm ready to give people 3 hours of advice on their careers. I don't take this lightheartedly. Believe me, I don't take this lightheartedly. There is a lot of preparation. There's a lot of work, a lot of schematics, a lot of planning, a lot of notes, right? A lot of, you know, self-awareness, like how did I achieve this? A lot of reflection. I don't take this lightheartedly, because coming back to Tolkien, which I think is one of the best authors of all time, and everybody who likes to change Tolkien should first change himself, right? And stay away from this subject matter, right? But coming back to Tolkien, there is, in the first book of Tolkien, there is Frodo who meets Gorodir, I think it's the elf, and he asks the elf, hey, where should I go? I have this ring, I have to put it into the volcano, so where should I go? And the elf says, you know what, I'm a couple of thousand years old, I could tell you where you should go. Ah, perfect, says Frodo. Then just, you know, tell me the route, tell me the way, where should I go? It's like, the thing about advice is very dangerous. And it's like, Frodo, I don't get it. Just tell me the road. I just throw the ring into the volcano and we're all saved. Why don't you tell me the road? Because and then the elf responds, because I don't know your road. I know how I would do it. I know how I did it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is your way of doing it. Because if I give you an advice on how to avoid the dangerous pitfalls, the dangerous, you know, the enemies and all the dangerous things, maybe you are avoiding to make the experience that will give you the strength in the end to leave the ring into the volcano, to drop the ring into the fire. If I will give you the easy route, the shortcut, if we can cut corners, then maybe you won't have the experience accumulated that will give you the character strength to drop the ring into the fire pit. So advice is very dangerous, because I have to really kind of weigh in what I give to you and what not, because the way I did is not necessarily the way you did it. You would do it, but I tried to distill 35 years of acting experience and 25 years of industry experience and over 10 years of coaching experience into what I believe are generally good pieces of direction. So you can kind of, you know, implement them in your way of thinking, in your way of goal setting, in your way of looking at your career, at your craft. It's dangerous to give advice, because people then say, oh, he said this, now I don't have success, it's his fault. Right? So I don't take this lightheartedly at all. And believe me, my way of doing things was, I did it in the toughest way possible. I could have done the institutional route. I could have stayed at drama school. I could have, you know, taken my degree and then going to the various outlets and kind of present myself and getting all that. I didn't do that. I was always a rowdy, a rebel, and a bit crazy in my approach to things. And when I felt like you were saying, this is not my way, this is not my way, I was abandoning it and starting something new. And that was a mistake, because I started many things and I opened a lot of windows, but I didn't really close them all. And that haunted me. And so I realized, no, you have to stay on track and finish it. Finish the assignment, because focus on one course solely. Focus, right? It's one course solely. No plan B, no plan C. Implement it. And in the end, you will find out whether or not that was the best way to do it or not. But you will always accumulate experience. You will always get better in the process, no matter what, if you put your heart behind it. Okay. Alexander, on YouTube is Vera Wirkenbühl, Lernen. She was making similar maps and explaining how to do this in an efficient way. Yeah, there are many mind maps, many strategic PDFs that you can find online for sure. And they're all pretty good. Like generally speaking, they are pretty good. You can start with where am I now, where I want to be in 10 years, and what are all the necessary steps. You can start from many ways. But I think like there is one thing, like you want to be a phenomenal actor, you want to be a phenomenal artist, you have to behave like a phenomenal artist. I know that sounds so cliche, so banal. So, okay, I have to behave like a phenomenal artist. What does that mean? Behave like a phenomenal artist. I always say the successful actor behaves like a successful actor. He gets up, he studies text, he reaches out to people, he goes to networking events, he contacts casting directors, he records monologues, he works through his resume, he takes new headshots, he behaves like successful actors. So this is how he gets perceived as a successful actor. A phenomenal artist behaves like a phenomenal artist. He thinks about his material, he thinks about his style, he thinks about his colors, he thinks about his temperaments, what he likes to present, right? He's always involved in the making. Does he know exactly what the outcome is going to be? No, but he is engulfed in he engulfs the process with all of his identity. No plan B, C, D, anything. Just this, getting better, right? Become a phenomenal artist, and then you will be perceived. Gail Delgado, I got 2 questions. What book do you recommend us to read about acting? It's a great question. Audition by Michael Shurtleff. Michael Shurtleff is the greatest casting director of all time. He discovered Bob De Niro, Barbara Streisand, Dustin Hoffman on Broadway. And he has this compass, the 12 guidelines. You can find it also as a PDF online. Acting in Film by Michael Caine. I think Michael Caine is a true hero. He's a legend in its own kind, and he has his own way of doing things. Not everybody loves his style, but the things he says about acting, about surviving entertainment industry, and how to thrive in it are really cool. Are really good. This is really good stuff. And there's some like tangible advice on how to behave and how to get there. So I still like Acting in Film a lot by Michael Caine. Less is more, I think it's called in Germany. I'm not sure. I love Stanislavski. I love his work. Even if it's a bit confusing, it's very inspiring. But if there's one thing I could tell you to read, it's The Actor's Wow by Elia Kazan. It's a testament that you need to fulfill. It's a vow, it's a promise, right? You swear solemnly that you will do whatever, you know, what the vow by Elia Kazan, it's kind of explains who we are as actors. And it's a great way to kind of reinforce that belief inside of yourself. I want you all to write, what would you do if I started your acting career now, and what would be your first step? If I would do it now, if I would start my acting career now, I'm a researcher. I love researching. So I always start from the fundamentals. I always, you know, I work my cathedral of success from the bottom up. That is how it works for me. So first of all, of course, texts, poems, lyric, music, all that, but understanding the roots, the fundamentals, researching acting, what it means, researching myself, recording myself, putting a good portfolio together, sending it out to agencies, getting accepted by an agency, submitting my stuff to casting portals like Cast Forward, eTalenta, filmmakers.com, Spotlight, Backstage, getting auditions, getting into the room, getting to networking events. Exactly what I told you today. I would probably do the same thing today. Yeah, we should start the role from the inside, Alexander. I totally agree. There are 2 ways of doing it. You can work it from the outside to the inside, or from the inside to the outside. I think the inside to the outside is my preferable method. There are roles that sometimes require something else, but generally speaking, 90% of the roles, or let's say 80% of the roles, are, you know, working from the inside out. The first is audition. I think it's just called audition, Victoria. Hi, Lauren. Thanks for you know, stopping by. It's fairly late, but we're gonna post this online on YouTube as well, and then you can rewatch the whole show. We talked a lot. It was hopefully a great session for everybody else. We are at the Q&A point right now, so feel free to jump in, tell us a bit about yourself in the chat, and if you want, I can unmute you and you can ask a couple of questions. Who was the other you speak about? Michael Caine, Elia Kazan, the actors. Wow. Elia Kazan was the original founder of the Method Acting Studio, 1947, which is a highly interesting date in human history, by the way. But 1947, Elia Kazan founded the acting studio, and then 48, Strasberg took over. And it's the Actors Wow pretty much explains who we are. And if we are using this as a testament to fulfill, can't do anything wrong. Right. So make sure to check it out. You can find it online too for free. The Actors Wow by Elia Kazan, the great Elia Kazan, the great Elia Kazan. Study the masters of the past to understand the path of the future. The masters. Whatever field you're in, study the masters, right? Once you study the masters, you understand, try to reverse engineer their instruments of success and try to figure out which instruments of success you're aligning with and then implement those into your workflow. Hi, are you a working actor in Hollywood? I'm an aspiring actress located in Los Angeles. I'm an acting coach in Hollywood. I did some projects in Hollywood, smaller stuff. I worked with Ridley Scott on ATM, but we shot that in Rome. I worked on Sangre Negra. That was shot in LA with Estrada, Eric Roberts, and a couple of beautiful other LA actors. A great project. And yeah, I did a lot of monologue sessions there. But mostly in Hollywood, I worked as an acting coach, and I'm still working as an acting coach when I'm there. And then I'm collaborating with a lot of acting schools, such as Margie Haber, Crash Acting, Tanya Lynette Smith, a lot of others. Not a lot of others, but it's some great others. And what I offer also is, to my clients and my students is kind of, getting them into those schools, getting into the networking events that matter in LA, and, step by step, how to build it up to get in, better agencies and all that. Just to give you a little context, it's been over 25 years that I'm, part of entertainment industry, and I played in, on many different occasions in many different countries. Right now, I'm located in Miami. I got my acting studio here in South Beach, and we are, kind of working out of South Florida because it was a strategic decision, since there are not a lot of acting schools in South Florida that are really valuable, really good, and so therefore we try to kind of place our mark in here. Of course, yes, of course, absolutely. You're more than welcome to watch the replay on YouTube. And please make sure to ask us a question if you got anything on your mind concerning the acting career strategies and, how to, kind of build that career up. I want to give you a couple of synonyms. I love working with synonyms. What I do sometimes when I have an audition or a monologue, whether it's for me or I prepare with my client, and I love to kind of dissect the words etymologically, where they come from, and also by attributing them associate meanings. What I mean by that is, like, what does a word mean also besides the actual and obvious meaning, right? What is hidden beneath that word? Usually when we extract that, we get a lot of critical informations and a lot of interesting ideas, and so therefore this is the critical mass that we can work with as actors. But it's also a great way of understanding that we can reinforce ourselves, right? So I will give you a couple of synonyms to understand that we are all amazing, that there is no good and bad. It's just starting and then learning. And this is already amazing. And I want to thank you for coming out, because you guys are amazing people. You took time out of your busy schedule to kind of, come together as a community and talk about this subject that is acting, art, creativity, culture, and all that, which is like a great way, I think, to kind of realizing how important it is for all of us, because we are all storytellers. We are all awesome, right? We are all fascinating. We are all incredible. We are all prodigious. We are all quirky. We are all admirable. We're all interesting. We are all curious, or at least we should be. Right? We are all wonderful. We all have to discover that startling quality about ourselves, to be unbelievable, to be admirable, to be bold, to be audacious, to be magnificent, to be stupendous, to be superb, to be excellent, to be exquisite, right? We have to be fine. We have to be remarkable. We have to be fantastic. We are keen. We are superb. We are cool. We are incredible. We are compelling. We are worth watching, and we are unique. Don't let anyone tell you anything else. You are unique. And if you work in a remarkable way on your product, you will be able to share it in a unique manner. And that uniqueness will be your recognizability, which will lead to you booking roles, which will lead to you having a career, which will lead you to achieving something that is important to you, right? So if there's anything I want to leave you with, besides I'm going to read a couple of questions, absolutely, is like, write down synonyms. Who are you in a synonym, right? Write it down for you and realize, wow, this is all me. This is all my package. This is all my critical mass. This is all my beauty. And never fall short of that, to realize and to reinforce that you are amazing. And I mean that, you are. Right? We are amazing beings. There's like 1 in 140 trillion possibilities that we are alive, but we are. So we should, take this privilege and make the most out of it every day. Question: do you think getting roles during the strike is a lot of challenge, or after the strike will be greater challenge? There will always be strikes. Like the writers, they have always implemented strikes into their workflow to get more money. So a strike in a way is just, I strike, right? It's just, I strike back, right? The empire strikes back. And there are always, let me tell you, or answer this in another way. The biggest empires have always been created in a moment where everybody else was crying. When everybody is crying, when everybody else is crying or bleeding, you should be creating your empire, because usually that's the time when the energy is the lowest and everybody's searching for answers, searching for help, searching for guidance. So step up, right? Take responsibility, step out of your comfort zone, out of your limitations, and say, you know what? I'm going to create my empire right now, because everybody else is just confused or busy with crying and whining and screaming and striking. No, I'm gonna sit home, let everybody be out there on the street, kind of doing their things. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna create the next empire. So strikes, crisis, all these events, they're just great opportunities to kind of lay the foundation for something big. Of course, Victoria, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for being part of this culture. Please don't stop creating. Don't stop believing in yourself. Reinforce that with all the strategic help that hopefully I could, provide you with today. Think of your heart core purpose, right? Your heart is your core. And what is the purpose, right? So go into that direction no matter what. If you need help, if you want to shoot an incredible monologue, if you want to have a portfolio audit, and you want to know if the material that you have is adequate, if it's enough, if you need to step up your game, if you want to work on your strategy as an actor, if you want to kind of flesh out a better product inside of yourself, and really learning all the tools, all the nuts, all the bolts, all the insights that I've learned throughout 35 years of acting experience, and kind of, preventing some of the mistakes that I did that were just stupid and a waste of time, then by all means, contact me through my website. It's the COACHMC.studio. Let's set up a free trial session. Let's find out if we're a great match for each other, and let's start the adventure if we deem it the right thing to do, right? So I can't wait to kind of dive into all of your adventures. Just contact you guys, follow up, start collaborate, start networking, start implementing, start having success right away. There's no better way to start, right? And no better opportunity. And thank you so much for coming out. And now you're ready to perform. See you next time, guys. Thank you so much.